Good afternoon. Oh, good evening, rather. Happy Christmas, New Year, perineum. Those of the future. Today's game reputedly sucks. Uh, I was. I got a wee small bit of money from my grandpa for Christmas, and I thought, as I said, our family weren't really doing gifts this year, and my grandparents didn't quite make it through to Edinburgh due to various illness-related things. Um, so that was kind of, I suppose that had they been there or not, that would have been their contribution. Sounds very formal. I'm talking shite. Basically, I thought 50 quid. I thought I know where that's going. So it was my opportunity today to go take a nice wee stroll. This is wobbling quite a bit, isn't it? I will. Oh, I'm just wondering what is making that. Well, it isn't my hands on the table. Oh yes, it is. Who cares? Anyway, following the ordinary kind of family etc. obligations over Christmas, I went down to the CX at the bottom of Leith Walk. I've mentioned before. It's a wee walk away, not a long walk, a little one. But they've in the past had some some pretty good stuff, lots of retro stuff, and it smells pretty fucking horrible, to be honest. It smells of BO. It's okay today. In the past, it smelled really bad. But they've always had quite a lot of good stuff. Almost every time I've been in. I remember, kind of been surprised by that the first time I went in. So I went there with high hopes, having popped into Rose Street yesterday, kind of feeling bad to be contributing to the Boxing Day high street crowds. CEX is the only place I went into, but I can't really let myself off the hook for that. For that reason, I was there. I was shopping on Boxing Day, which is kind of grotesque. All the same, I went into this Leith Walk one with high hopes, and they were not disappointed. I was not disappointed. They were not. Blah 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 blah. Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2. This makes this still only my second NES game, having traded in Zelda because it wasn't working. Although now I suspect that it has as much to do with my machine, the NES, which is it does struggle even to read the Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt that I've got. So we'll see how we get along with this. I would really, even if it doesn't play this, I won't be trading this in. Not least of all because trading it in, saying this is faulty, which was my assumption with Zelda at the time, doesn't stand to earn me much credit. This was only like 20 quid. But I'll keep a hold of it because, assuming it does actually work, or I do not conclude that it doesn't work, even should my NES have trouble with it. It's in bloody good condition, really good condition, which is probably not super unusual, but just having put the microscope on that aspect of games recently myself, I am just ever more pleased to see good games in good conditions, good condition, particularly their labels. So looks great. Hopefully it plays well. Not unlike I think a lot of people, I was, having watched AVGN plenty over the years. This game in particular, though not exclusively this game, appealed to me more having watched his video on it. So as he's as he's kind of remarked before, his videos have done nothing to stop people playing these games or wanting to play them. And he's since revealed the nuance in his actual earnest opinion on this game, as much as he does actually hate other games he's reviewed. This is a game that he does like, but has a lot of problems. And I think the fact of that fact does kind of shine through in even his original video, because you can't help watching it and just pick up on some of the appeal of these early NES kind of adventure-y type games, which it appears to have, that of Castlevania and Zelda 2, which I really like. Actually, I really like Zelda 2. I've played it a lot on the Zelda Collector's Edition GameCube disc. I really look forward to having it on NES at some point and playing it with a proper D-pad. So I'm looking forward to playing this. I know it'll be a bit of a grind. I suspect it'll still have some of the kind of pitfall frustration of, the other Castlevanias of this age that I've played a bit of. But I'm looking forward to playing it. I think I'm excited. Zelda 2 really appeals to me. The way it has some of the same, pitfall problems, in that one hit deaths are pretty common in certain areas of the game, just because if you get hit, you will be knocked back in such a way that you pretty much always fall in a pit and die straight away. So that's frustrating, and it's challenging and can be quite unforgiving in terms of its combat, but and even its platforming. But I think actually, I did find myself getting better at Zelda 2, and I found getting good at the combat really rewarding. It felt good to play well, which is is what you want from a challenging game. I suppose that's the difference between it feeling like, when it's easy or when you're doing well, whether that's because of your ability or some other factor, just fluke, trial and error. It doesn't feel like that for me in Zelda 2, so maybe I'll get really into this as well. Maybe not. In my head as well, the kind of the extra kind of RPG elements of Castlevania 2 do make it seem more appealing, but I do realise that it has been criticised so thoroughly and has this reputation of being really frustrating that it can't all be imaginary. So my imagination of it is probably, I imagine I will share the frustrations of those before me. But very pleased to have found this in good condition and add to my very meagre NES collection. Next thing I got, and I could have gotten a great deal more, but decided not to. Well, these were the things that I thought would turn up less often at a decent price, which they were both at. There were other things. Pokemon Leaf Green, which was 25 quid. It probably won't go down, but whatever. Not in a rush with it. There was Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, which actually would have been quite good. It was only £12, so I would have quite happily bought that. But I just thought, let's not go overboard and spend all this money that was in my pocket straight away. And that'll turn up as well. It was unboxed, which I like. In fact, I don't know if I've seen it boxed before. There was one other thing, Game Boy Player, which I've seen repeatedly and repeatedly passed up. I was only £12 as well, so that's less than I've seen it for. I've seen it for like £15, £20. Although maybe I've seen it for 10. Anyway, again, it turns up. So I was I'm convinced that I will have another opportunity to buy it, and I'm in no rush to use it. So this, however, I've only seen a couple times in this pairing, Super Mario Paint with the mouse. So, Mario Paint, a painting software game. I had a thing like this on the PC years and years and years ago. It was a it was Mickey Mouse actually, it wasn't Disney, more broadly speaking, like Lion King, etc. The musical stuff, or Pixar for that matter. It was Mickey Mouse. It was a Mickey Mouse painting program I had on Windows, and it was, you could do these animations and things, and like erase in these kind of wacky ways. So it's this kind of fun painting program. That's my impression of Mario Paint. Don't know how much I'll use that, but the thing that really appeals to me about it is the thing that probably a lot of people know it better for, which is the music transcribing software. And when I told my friend, who I do kind of experimentally improvised music with, when I told him that I had seen this game with the mouse and explained to him about the music transcribing thing, he was pretty aghast that I had not bought it. This was months ago. So I thought when I saw it again, and this cartridge is in perfect condition, as far as I can tell. The mouse less so, a bit brown. Don't know if you can really see that because of the light, but you can probably see that there. Bit brown, great. So cleaner or like less. It's probably a sweat thing actually, isn't it? Just wondering whether the shadow actually brings out the difference more. It doesn't. That's probably a sweat thing. It's probably a use rather than sun bleaching or anything like that. Yeah, so slightly less good condition than the cartridge, and possibly not as good condition as other mouses I've seen. But this is a really interesting thing these days. Even a rollerball mouse alone, never mind, a Nintendo branded mouse meant to hook up to a Super Nintendo. I mean, that's mad, isn't it? It's such a weird thing to see. To imagine using, I wonder whether you could possibly make this work with kind of contemporary computer. Anyway, so yeah, I told my pal about this, and he thought, rightly, that there was potential for some kind of fun, maybe experimental-ish composition stuff to be done with this kind of retro software. So yeah, I couldn't pass up on it a second time. And there we have it. Yeah, these are both games I will definitely explore in some way, some capacity. And one's even kind of sociable, insofar as using it with my one friend, which is unusual, and a contrast to this activity of my talking to myself in my office.